Good afternoon. My name is Stephen Capaldo of Echad Unity Ministries in North Providence, Rhode Island. Welcome. And today we have something a little bit different from what we normally do. We are involved in an organization, and I have the president of that organization here. His name is Herman Falu, and he has a passion for the Lord, and he's also involved in what he's going to tell you about, the organization that he's establishing and is called, I believe, to do great work in the community. So welcome, Herman.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming. And I think really you're going to do most of the talking. I'm just going to try to feed you questions here and there, and then really I'll let you go with it. I was interested, where does the name Whitestone come from, for one thing, and then just if you will, just develop, where did your idea and vision of the organization come from? And I know your association with Dave Butera was kind of important in that, or related to that in a significant way. So just to tell us a little bit about the founding of the organization and where the name comes from as well. That's interesting as well.
Yes. Thank you so much, Steve. Well, personally, the name Whitestone comes from the book of Revelation, chapter 2, verse 17. And Whitestone is a stone that was given when you overcome life's vicissitudes. And so I was always intrigued by that. And I realized, being in the field of substance abuse and dealing with all types of people and the addiction, sometimes they seem to not see the light at the end of the tunnel. And it's almost as they get caught up in the victim mentality without realizing it, that they can be a victor, they can overcome it. And so that was the branding behind the name.
Mm-hmm. And is it the case that someone received a white stone when they overcame? Was that kind of the connection of it, or?
Yes, exactly. That's exactly it. Yes.
Yeah. And okay, that's the name. Now, how did you get the idea and the vision, and what was the role of Dave in this?
So I met David in Bible college. I go to North Point. Once it was Zion Bible, now it's North Point Bible College. And we met taking our classes together, and he definitely, you could see the fire and the passion of God in his heart as well. And he was just a down-to-earth brother that just was very practical. And it just so happened that, here we are, two different backgrounds of life and age group, but yet we had one common theme, and that was just loving people. And originally coming from Bronx, New York, myself, and I myself am celebrating 11 years in sobriety, I realized that this is really a serious epidemic happening. It's happening all across the borders and the city lines. So,
Yeah, I remember at the fundraiser the other night, the event the other night, someone said that now it's just like, we used to say that you know someone that's had cancer, and now you know someone who's had to, be involved in this kind of recovery activity because
exactly.
of some form of addiction.
Yeah.
So I think that takes us into the next area that I wanted to ask you about, is that, there are, of course, many organizations that focus on addiction recovery, and so the question that I have is, what would bring someone to Whitestone more than to another organization of the same type? What is the niche, or maybe sometimes they call it the comparative advantage, that a place like Whitestone, as it's developing, would have over other addiction recovery organizations?
Yes. Well, Steve, like I said earlier, when I went to rehab myself, I went to a place called Hope Christian Center, which was in the Bronx, and it was based out of biblical principles. And also I was familiar with Teen Challenge and David Wilkerson, of course, coming from the city. So it was known back then, and we're talking, that ministry was produced back in, way back, but in 2005 when I came out of rehab. And my state and standing as a believer, number one, I am a licensed minister, and I also work in the secular sector. And so I have been afforded the luxury to look at both tracks, because there are just so many different issues right now that are running around, and there's different pathways to recovery. And so one thing that I have found in my time with people is that many times they want to explore the faith aspect. They want to, or they'll say, I just want to explore the spiritual dynamic, you know, and it's just so Whitestone is really there in order to not put it in the back seat. Take into consideration the addiction, and again, there's medication models, there's DBT models, dialectical behavioral models, there's also CBT, and again, I have seen great things happen. However, I have also seen that the faith part has been silenced for a while, and so that's one of the aspects of why Whitestone is in existence. Where we can be able to blend those models, and if someone walks through the door, they're not afraid if they feel that they want to explore that aspect of their recovery.
Mm-hmm. And you've got three different clienteles in a way, as I understand it. You've got the people who are vulnerable,
yeah.
You've got the people who are in intake, if you like, they're kind of in the system, and then the people who are coming out and they want to stay out.
Yeah.
And the one thing that you were mentioning that I thought was very interesting was linking employment to the recovery experience.
Yes.
And so maybe you can talk a little bit about that,
Yes.
as your vision for that as Whitestone as an evolving employer.
Yes, yes. And again, I mean, I'm also still working for two agencies right now, and one of them I was working inside of the prison. And so while I was working in the prison and I had time to listen and to sit and to really be empathetic towards some of the issues, one of the things I found out that the stressors was, you know, we could sit there and do all kinds of cognitive therapy and definitely listen to the problems. But there are some that are problem oriented, excuse me. But Whitestone wants to be more solution driven. And what we found was that once you do the counseling and you do all kinds of group dynamics, one of the biggest stresses was finances and employment. And you hear it over and over again. So it's almost like putting all the change in your pocket, but you still had a hole there. And so what Whitestone would like to do is to create that wraparound service, but to become the creators of employment, where we may have Whitestone landscaping, Whitestone barbershop. So once they go through the therapeutic model and they go through the structure of the cognitive restructuring, they now can be provided employment. And that's one of our goals.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's a little bit different. It struck me the other night that that aspect of it was maybe a little bit different than other recovery organizations. And I had one more main question that I wanted to ask you before I let you go, is that now you've tried to pick some people that would kind of be in an advisory capacity, members of the board and such, and you know, I know that some of us people like myself, you selected us just because we're so good looking. But I also know that you were looking for other things when you went around to people and asked them would they like to be on this type of board. So maybe you can just in a general way talk a little bit about that. And,
yes.
You know, anything else you want to tell us about the organization?
Yeah. One of the things that I've also seen is that we're living in a cutting edge century right now. Things are evolving, and it's just, first of all, there's one scripture that says that in the council there is much wisdom. So we're looking at putting together different backgrounds of life with different skills, and we don't want to just have one model set. So we definitely wanted to create a board that brings all kinds of insight and skill sets and professionalism, and so we have anywhere from lawyers to doctors, and we're looking to bring balance and where we could definitely see the success of Whitestone. And to do that, you know, we definitely are not looking to be insecure, but to be secure in this principle. And the way we do that is by bringing these people together.
Okay. Were there any final words that you wanted to say before we close? Those were the main questions that I had, but I'll let you finish. And,
Well, I just want to say again, thank you all for who have come out to support our first fundraiser, and those that we have come into relationship with, and we just look forward to David and myself, and for great things to happen, to unfold. And to do it, we realize that this is not a sprint, but it is a marathon to systemically lay the foundation, and look forward to those who are looking for a new voice and a new face, and to explore recovery in a way that you probably thought that you could never explore it.
So that's Whitestone Life Center, President Herman Falu, and this organization, I think, in Rhode Island it has a future. I think you're going to be hearing things about it, and we all look forward to that, and thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. And thank you, Betsy.